Why do I love the life of a dairy farmer? Jesus, at the moment, it's the wrong time to ask, mate. No, look, I'm just, I'm born and bred on a dairy farm, so yeah, they're just not having someone looking over my shoulder telling me what to do. Yeah, I like working with animals, and yeah, I suppose at the moment, with the way the prices are, it isn't a real good thing to be in, but I'm still doing my own thing, and it's probably to bring the kids up more so in the country too, mate. Oh, mate, that I've been buying grain off for probably 10 years or more on other farms that I was share farming on and stuff, approached me about using probably because I was battling to pay him some money for some grain that I owed him, and he was trying to save me $1 so I could fix him up. But anyway, it's all worked well for me. Instead of using chemical fertilizers, we've tried the best, and yeah, it's probably been one of the better managerial moves of my career over. It's definitely. I couldn't believe it. I was a bit of a skeptic too. I couldn't say that I'm a greenie or anything like that, but. I've tried a lot of these. There's a lot of different types of so-called organic sprays and fertilisers. We've tried the pig manure, and it's all a lot cheaper and it's easier to handle, but we definitely weren't getting the results we were getting using chemical fertiliser. But since I've started using the best, which was spring of '07, so nearly 2 years, and I've completely cut out chemical fertilisers because we really were battling, and I was nearly ready to pull the pin. So, mate, I'm stoked. Really, it's the way to go, I'd say. You'd be mad not to have a crack at it and try and prove something to yourself, and it's hard to. And that's the only way, really. I mean, you can talk to everyone, and everyone's different, farm to farm. But yeah, it's definitely it's made life a lot easier here. You're not got trucks in bogging up the ground and running around like an idiot on your four-wheeler putting it out. It's just one pass with your with your Roundup if you're spraying out to put crops in, and then if I'm doing, which I do a bit of now, is Cape Weed and Patterson's Curse. I just mix with me broadleaf spray, so you're always killing two birds with one stone. If you can be fertilising and spraying, you're laughing, aren't you? I've grazed the crop of oats over here 3 times, and I sowed the same time as my neighbours at the end of February, March, and I'm just grazing this one crop here for the 3rd time since March. So what's that? Well, March, April, May, June, July, 5.5 months, and there's some of the crops around haven't even been grazed yet. The germination speed's unbelievable, I reckon. Definitely making a difference, and how much of the seed's coming up too. We get to have a lot of trouble too here with what are they called? Cockchafers. They're the ones that we normally have a lot of trouble with in the autumn when we're sowing our crops, and I haven't seen any this year. And it's the same, like I said about the earth mite. This year's been a great year for it. And most of the other farms around me here have sprayed once already, and I know a bloke across the road he's sprayed twice. So, and I've seen a few. I don't know if it's madness to say it or not, but in me lucerne and oat crop over here, there's a few earth mite in there, but they're only on the Cape weed. So I'm serious, mate. They're coming in on the weeds and not touching the grass. There's no doubt at the end of spring last year when we cut, the pastures were a shitload healthier, and that's a lot to do with the bugs, because in the end you don't want to. The earth mite will come again if we get a late frost or something, and they'll get into your clover and ryegrass, and you don't really want to spray because it's like this by then, and it's knocking over, or you're just about to cut it and you don't want any residues in your silage or hay. So the quality of it last year was just, I haven't seen it like it. The differences I've noticed are, second to none, mate. The bugs is one of the major. I grow a great deal of subclover up here, and we're spraying, herbicides, Lamat and Astound to kill earth mite and lucerne flea, normally 2 or 3 times a year, because they're just that rabid. And I haven't, everyone's done one spray, all my neighbours so far this year, and I haven't seen an earth mite on me clover, like the health of the cows is better, and I reckon they're a little bit more settled when we milk, and normally, because I've cut down so much in the bale feeding, it's an unsettling time for them if there's not as much in there, but they don't seem to be, they're not pissed off that they're not getting 10 kilos at the moment. They're only getting 4 kilos, and normally through winter and into spring, if we haven't got a great deal of feed, we'd be feeding them 8 or 9 kilos. I do milk cows for longer lactations than most, and I'd normally, I'm in the top sort of 50 in our area where there's 300 or so dairy farmers with the cell count, and there's no doubt I'm lactating them for 2 years, 18 months at the moment. Like instead of a 12-month cycle, I'm giving them 18 months in milk and then an extra month off when they calve, and I'm having no dramas. And the biggest problem with giving them long lactations normally is mastitis. I've got a heap of warnings from the factory that we supply the milk to saying, oh, you can't go milking them you'll have trouble with your cell count. And they like the low cell count milk because it puts froth in the lattes for the people in the city to drink. So, so no, I haven't had any dramas, and I've definitely been milking my cows for 18 months straight, and my mastitis has been, nil and void, and that's got to do with, I suppose, a lot of the time, the health of the ground, because these sacrifice paddocks that you're using, which like I am at the moment out here, at night they're getting grass, and during the day they're just getting silage in a feed shed and walking out into a paddock. They get bogged up and they'll sit where they've shit and they'll sit where their milk's leaked, and if one cow's crooked, she'll get it, like it becomes an environmental problem with the mastitis. So, I reckon that, it must have changed things with the old best for sure, mate. This year I had the best calving. I calved 160 cows in 5 weeks, and I lost one, which was probably my fault because I didn't go out during the one night that I didn't go and check on them. But normally we'd probably get, I'd say 50% of the cows, you'd probably put a calcium pack in. A lot of the times they mightn't be going to go down, but you can see them a bit groggy, but I brought 3 boxes of the crap this year, and I only used 1 or 2 bags. My milk fever, there's no doubt that it's probably releasing the good part, the calcium and the stuff in the ground that's getting into the grass, and they're getting more of it. So it's definitely, has helped with our calving, no doubt, mate. It's the worst time of year for, metabolic diseases with cows is when they calve. And it's probably the only time, so that vet bill question is probably, it's the only time you really have vets is if you've got calving paralysis or trouble with getting a calf out or milk fever. That's when you're calling them, mainly when the cows are calving. And like I said, we calved 160 cows in bloody 5 weeks, and I'd think I put 1 pack in a cow, Didn't get 1 case of milk fever. And you might find you get it a week later when they start, their metabolism fires up and they start pumping out 30 or 40 litres of milk a day. They'll probably get a dose of milk fever then, but I just never seen one wobbly cow this year, apart from she's probably a 13-year-old cow that had trouble calving, and I whacked one in her just for the sake of it, I think I've found, too, when the cows are calving that I'm not getting as much, and I don't know if it's to do with it, retained afterbirth, I seem to think the cows seem to be going along a bit more healthy, I'm not normally I drench them twice a year while they're lactating, and they don't seem to be, and it's only a rule of thumb. I only, once their asses or whatever are getting a bit dirty looking and they're coughing a bit, might be a bit of lungworm or something, I'll just drench them for everything. But especially this time of year when the grass they're getting is, it's watery and they're not getting a great deal of fibre, because all my hay got burnt. So, normally they would be spraying the bowl, as the saying goes, mate. But they're definitely firmed up with their dung, no doubt at all, mate. I'm glad you mentioned that because it's not something that I've sort of were thinking about a great deal. But there's definitely not the big wet, it's like green spray paint, in spring and early and late winter. So, definitely, mate, for sure. So something's definitely helping them digest their tucker better. There's definitely getting the more out of the grass and what they're probably losing a lot less and not just blowing it out the back end. There's no doubt the fat and protein's changed with what I'm feeding. I know what I normally get off this type of feed and what I'm feeding in the bales. You know, it's like a 1/4% or a bit more, maybe 1/3% at times with the fat and protein. The litres, well, like I said, with the amount of days that I'm milking my cows, normally it's a 300-day lactation and they're out for 2 months and then calving again. Well, only last year I milked them for 18 months straight and I was drying them off, still doing 25 litres, high fat and protein, and no trouble with mastitis, you know, like, and normally a longer lactating cow, you definitely, even the factories will warn you away from it, doing it, letting them lactate for longer, especially, it's all right 1 or 2 cows, but not your whole herd. It freshens them up when they calve and they think it's going to keep your cell counts down. Well, you know, we're having a great success with long lactating cows, low cell counts and high fat and protein, you know, in the milk. The biggest benefit, I suppose, like I've said to you, is the contentment of the cows and them not having to eat as much to be contented. As you can see, they've got more time to play around with me than worry about looking for a feed of grass. They can frolic in the paddocks and play with me. But go on, piss off for a while, yeah? Give me the shits.